Hello, everybody. I'm the S.R Scrooge, and joining me today is...
S.R Nobody.
And today's topic is the unsolved mysteries of Gravity Falls, or rather, just the aftermath, or the endless void of what's left since Gravity Falls ended.
All right. I have an episode list in case we need to resort to any specific episodes, and I have my memory of useless information, which I shall use to help remember the finer details of each episode.
Think you'll ever be the phone a friend on a Jeopardy round?
Wouldn't that be Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, my bad. I have not kept very good tabs on game shows.
I don't know. I mean, no one in my family has been able to beat me in Disney Scene It. Like the first time I played, they beat me, but after that, they couldn't even move a space.
I would not want to play against you in that then.
Yeah, that's what happens when you spend most of your life reading and watching cartoons. But back to the subject at hand. All right, shall we start with season 1 or season 2?
Let's just get right into season 2. Let's just get right into what were some of the most striking. This plot thread was left unresolved right after the finale. Did anything strike you like lightning, saying, "This never got resolved," or "This is going to haunt my dreams for a while"?
Well, the whole fact that with Stan getting his memory back, that also alludes to the fact that Bill might be coming back. And then, of course, his message at the end, referring to the Aztec god of death, Exotl, who is also referenced to be a god of twins, death, rebirth, and Stan himself having an Exotl in his house. So if Alex wanted to do a kind of follow up to the show, he could do it.
Very true. There's definitely enough ambiguity that Bill Cipher could sneak right back in. That's a bit unnerving.
Although I really highly doubt Alex would want to do a follow up series on TV. So, more than likely, what would have to be is something I really believe that they should do with Danny Phantom and do a comic series, kind of like what they're doing with Adventure Time.
Definitely a lot of potential there.
Yeah, because just like the comic series could take place the next summer, and because it is a comic, it could take for as long as they ever want. Ow, my knuckle. And of course, with the Danny Phantom thing, the title cards already look like comic book covers from the Silver Age, so that already fits.
It'd be interesting to see Gravity Falls drawn or shaded or set up in a similar style for title card setups.
Great, now I have inspiration for a pseudo comic book cover. I don't know if I'll actually draw it. I should write it down just in case.
Yeah, put that on a bucket or to-do list. You never know. Might end up wanting to draw that eventually.
All right. Well, one of the things that kind of bugged me was Blendon Blandon in the finale. Like he somehow escaped Bill Cipher's attack and then just disappeared.
Yeah, true that. Is he stuck in a Mobius loop or something?
I was kind of wondering where he went. I mean, did he go to the future and warn Giant Time Baby, and then they escaped somehow, like a split second? Which actually, no, that would create a paradox, which is something the Giant Time Baby would want to avoid. Although I am pretty good at finding, explaining, and closing paradoxes. I've done that. I've done that with Meet the Robinsons and Back to the Future.
Wow. Those would definitely be some pretty well, in some respects, I guess you could pit this as first possible first possible story thread for a comic to tackle.
Hmm.
Somehow Dipper and Mabel get recruited to help close up a paradox to rescue Time Baby. Or to straighten things out with Blendon Blandon.
I'm just imagining Blendon coming to their school while they're in Piedmont or Piedmont or however it's pronounced, and then just like appearing in the cafeteria, similar to how Rick and Morty appeared in the first episode. Like it's like, did you just come to the cafeteria through a portal? Uh, my Ferrari was in the shop. Which actually would kind of be a pretty interesting call or reference to the show.
It'd be that much more fun if they snuck in yet another great big hint or a subtle hint. Maybe somebody has a couple of doodles of Rick on the table next to their lunch tray or something like that. Just something ridiculous like that.
Or like an in memoriam for that one kid that got frozen and accidentally killed by Rick.
Oh, that'd be even better. That you'd definitely have to be a close follower of Rick and Morty to notice that.
Hmm. Let's see what else. Da, 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 da. Going down, going down, going down, go down the list. The last Mabel Corn. How did Stan learn about the summoning the unicorn gate if he himself is not a druid? I mean, is there a druid in Gravity Falls that did it for him?
Huh. Wouldn't put it past him.
What if Manly Dan is that druid? Since he's close to nature, he's got that big burly voice, and I don't know. I can't think of any other comparisons.
It definitely sync. It definitely sync up.
Well, there's something I'm kind of curious with the Gravity Falls as its whole. So Alex Hirsch said that the episode Roadside Attraction is non-canon, which I find a bit odd.
Non-canon?
Yeah, in a sense of like it being a one-off. So it makes me question about the episode Bottomless Pit and Little Gift Shop of Horrors.
True that. Actually, going in that vein, I saw an interesting essay floating around on Tumblr about what sorts of complications and such would come up with looking at Wander Over Yonder because of Lord Dominator. You could say that there's some continuity in episodes involving said villain, but the rest are one off. Is the same case with Gravity Falls? continuity. Would these fall in line with continuity, or do they lie outside of it? That's an interesting point to bring up.
Well, it's just one of those things where Gravity Falls, in season 1, the only episodes you need to actually watch are the first episode, the fourth episode, The Hand That Rocks the Mabel, and then you can watch any other episode out of order except for the finale episodes, Dreamscaper and Gideon Rises. So pretty much any other episode you can almost watch out of order. Season 2, however, you can't really do that. There's only a few that you can, like the Gulf War, Seuss and the Real Girl, the Love God, uh, Roadside Attraction. Those are really the only episodes that you don't need to. Things go off the desk. That you don't need to watch the show in order. Lots of logos is here. Aloha.
Hey, lots of logos.
And he's mentioning about the theory about Dipper's real name.
I've seen that floating around. One of the most promising candidates I've seen floating around for that is Gable is in the side of a house. It relates to Mabel. It's clever. Well, that's my personal favorite.
So, well, Gable, which kind of sounds like it's short for Gabriel, and isn't he what kind of angel was he? I'm not really up to my mythology in that subject.
Oh, wait a second. I don't know if Alex Hirsch would name his avatar character after a biblical character. I remember seeing somewhere that he didn't really want to include any obvious. But then again, it may not be too out of line because there are references to as there. No, I don't know where I was going with that.
Gabriel. Refer to. Quick look at that. All right, Wikipedia, don't get me wrong, or don't steer me wrong.
Yep, the name will probably forever remain a mystery. Lots of logos. Personally, I'm okay with that. I'm not that hell bent on discovering what his real name is. I'm fine with just knowing him as Dipper.
True, and besides, if his real name ever was revealed, people would still just be like, "Oh, you mean Dipper?"
Pretty much. Of some of the... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to mention the potential name someone recommended was Abel, which is like, come on, that's cheap. That's too easy.
Yeah, way too easy.
All right, as you were saying, or starting to say.
I was poking around on some of my posts. Somebody asked me what were some of the mysteries about Gravity Falls that were left out that intrigued me. I want to bring up the shapeshifter from Into the Bunker. Somebody brought up a really, really interesting tidbit about this particular creepy fellow. In the episode where you discover that Gravity Falls is based on a UFO crash site, there's a message, an encoded message on the wall that mentions a shapeshifter. So it's highly possible that the character or figure we encountered in Into the Bunker was a shapeshifting experiment on the part of the aliens who crash landed in Gravity Falls.
True, yeah, I remember that episode. I had my decoder cipher with me and paused it and was like, all right, quick, what is it else seen? Shapeshifter. Oh no. Well then, it just brings up the question of what it is, anyways. Like, is it an experiment? Is it a mutation of the alien race? Is it a prisoner? Is it from? Is it like a something or other? I can't really think of it right now. I mean, we don't know anything about the aliens from the ship. Oogie, don't scratch that.
That's exactly what makes this fellow so fascinating. There's so much mystery surrounding him. If you had a comic series or any kind of continuation, there could be a few more hints about this mysterious alien race. I'm not asking for a complete reveal because this is just one of those mysteries that I love remaining a mystery. It's interesting. I would like to see a little bit of follow up on the shapeshifter at the very least.
As Seuss would put it, like the infinite horizon, it is beyond my reach. Although he was talking about licking his elbow, but
hey, it works.
although now that I think about it, I remember, did he have slight prophetic ability? Because he was able to predict the same pose that Dipper would take in the episode Northwest Mansion Mystery.
He does. He definitely knew quite a bit about the author and the author's background. He seemed connected with them in some way.
Well, as the episode of Tale of Two Stans show, Ford found the shapeshifter as an egg, which I like that for a while after that episode. Some people were drawing like Ford and Fiddleford as encouraging parents to a young shapeshifter. Like the shapeshifter at a baseball game. It's like, hey, isn't that those are your parents over there? And it's like, woo! Oh god, they're embarrassing.
That's strangely adorable.
Which, speaking of parents, there was something very interesting. Which, Binks, get off my desk. The cat is getting a bit. Whenever he wants something, he gets on my desk and blocks my screen. Which wouldn't be so bad if he wasn't such a fat cat. Anyways, I digress. Fiddleford. In episode 2, The Legend of the Gobblewonker, is revealed that he has a kid. Question is, when did he have this kid? Because he wasn't always in Gravity Falls. So did he have a relationship with someone during his partnership with Ford, or after his partnership with Ford and either before or during his creation of the Society of the Blind Eye?
That's a good question. Because if it was during either or, his kid would definitely be suspicious of Fiddleford. Or his kid would definitely be suspicious of what mysterious activities he'd been doing. It actually kind of explained what kind of drip they had as father and son before Fiddleford went crazy.
Although chances are, because of the Society of the Blind Eye, Fiddleford would probably use his forget ray on his own son in case he saw something or his strange activities, which that in itself paints a very dark image that I'm just like, no,
Yeah, not gonna think about that. That just makes that particular setup that much more depressing.
which maybe is why he's so distant from Fiddleford. Like he has spots of his memory blank, so he doesn't really remember, and he's wondering why, and he's just like, well, I don't really like. He says he's my dad, but I'm not exactly sure. Like I know he is, but I don't know why I don't trust him.
True that. I never stopped to consider what kind of can of worms Bilford's background left unopened.
Which then maybe the reason why Fiddleford was wanting to reconnect with his son in The Legend of the Gobblewonker was a latent form of guilt that he was feeling even in his insanity.
Maybe. Near the end of the series, it seemed like he was starting to gain some kind of a clarity or a little bit of peace of mind. Not a lot, but some.
Maybe that was an after effect of the seeing the lost memories.
That's very possible. Take it one step further, maybe this was a foreshadowing to what was going to happen to Stan.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, yeah, that actually kind of explains why Stan was able to remember things, because he was being shown things from his past. So maybe it wasn't such a cop out.
If the logic with McGucket syncs up, it definitely explains why Stan was able to remember what happened to him a little bit more quickly. He'd been blasted once, so the effects weren't nearly as dramatic as what happened with McGucket.
Mm, great. Now I just went really dark for Philford. Oh, donkey spittle. I don't want to go dark for McGucket.
Hey, if it means anything, near the end he made amends with Ford. Maybe he'll start reconnecting with his kid too. Plus, he has a giant house. He struck rich.
Yeah, and in the credit pictures, his son was in the pool with him, along
Yeah, so
with,
McGucket got a bit of a happy ending.
yeah, Fiddleford, his son, and his raccoon wife. Which brings up the other question: who is the woman that he had a kid with?
Some questions are better left unanswered.
Oh no, what if it was Lazy Susan? But because of the society, she doesn't remember.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
I know.
I won't deny that it's an interesting idea, though.
I guess there's not that many female characters in Gravity Falls, or at least not that was shown.
Not in the foreground or in the background characters.
Well, may maybe it was like a tourist or something after Stan took over the Mystery Shack.
Maybe.
Ah, getting the fiddle for his love life. That's not really.
Yeah, in regards to plot, I'm okay with leaving that as ambiguous. Somebody can make a fan character and just fill in the blanks right there. That works.
Great. Now I'm thinking about is that last story from the legend, like that self-insert.
Oh god! to the Dude, some fan bases credit, there's some fairly well done fan characters. There's been a few that I have wished were canon, though those tend to be fairly rare, unfortunately.
Yeah, most end up like Ebony Darkness, whatever way. I don't know. I've never read it.
Oh, I used to know somebody who was a huge fan of that horrible fan fiction and got a big group of gals together to do dramatic readings and interpretations of it. Moving on.
Here's a mystery. Episode 8, Season 1, Irrational Treasure. Why is it that Gravity Falls was chosen to be the hiding place of the presidential hall of, or the cave of presidential secrets?
That's a good question.
And not only that, but if it was chosen to be that place, why is it that Sheriff Blubbs and Derlin, or Deputy Derlin, if I didn't say deputy, it would have been sounded like it was Sheriff Derlin. Why is it that they were looking for it when they already know?
I guess not.
Well, I guess if Assassin's Creed and National Treasure has taught me anything, it was probably something to do with the Freemasons.
In regards to Derland and Blubbs, no offense to them, I love them as characters, but they aren't exactly competent cops.
Yeah, I think the only incompetent cops I would say that make them look good are the cops from the Jack Black Goosebumps movie. It's like they didn't ask any other follow-up questions to a possible domestic disturbance call, and the other one, yeah, one of the most surprising jokes that I actually enjoyed in that movie. Like I'm in the theater, I'm just like, wait, did they just seriously make a reference to that? But I shall.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it's just. But I shall leave that subject alone.
There's probably quite a few more unsolved mysteries of Gravity Falls. Probably even more to the President's Hall. If Dipper and Mabel went back to go explore that, there's probably even more unturned secrets. There's yet another possible plot thread for a comic for when they return next summer.
Let's see, and then there's also. Well, that forest part in the episode Little Dipper with those crystals, was that part of the mystical part of the forest in the last Mabelcorn? Or was it an entirely different section?
I need to go back and rewatch this episode.
Also, in the episode The Inconveniencing, how far away from town was the From Dusk to Dawn? Why would they build a convenience store that far out of town? Ah, Will's here. Aloha, Will.
Hey, Will, what's up?
He's asking not to break him.
I promise there wouldn't be any references to a certain thing this week. Staying on topic.
A certain food product.
I promised I wouldn't reference it. Speaking of food items, though, since you mentioned that this convenience store was so far out of Gravity Falls, it was teenagers that the elderly couple didn't like much. What if they had supernatural clientele come in every so often?
Well, trying to think of who that could possibly be.
Schmebulok? The Manitars? Maybe the Manitars like energy drinks.
I smell beef jerky.
Oh, yeah, even better. They probably sold out of beef jerky every time the Manitars trooped in after a workout or something.
Yeah. The smell of jerky summoned me. All right. All right, as long as you're teenagers, we're fine with you.
Pretty much.
That's probably why. That's why. What was his name? Jeff, the leader of the gnomes, mentioned he was starving in the episode "The Society of the Blind Eye," probably because the convenience store is closed.
True that. Actually, speaking of ghosts, and what kind of setup you had for the convenience store, did you see how it was unnerving just how cheerful Robbie's parents were when they were pushing zombies right back into their graves? And any thoughts on that?
Not today, Satan. I don't know. Maybe they have just been broken in a sense. Like they've seen so much that they're just like, well, the sun will come out tomorrow, or tomorrow's another day.
I would love to see a one-off comic about Robbie. Just him and his parents, a day in Robbie's life.
I don't know. I just love those two because I love dark humor. Like I have a few comics of this British comic series called the Suicide Bunnies, and it is a hilarious cartoon about these cute bunnies doing all these various different ways to kill themselves.
Oh, wow.
And one of the good memories I have is um, in a town I used to live in. There was a bookstore. There was a bookstore which closed down. It was called Walden's Books. Anyways, so when my mom brought me there, like this was years ago, my mom brought me there along with my brother, and I found this Suicide Bunnies book, and I started paging through it, and I started laughing. And I showed it to my mom. She starts laughing. One of the employees walks by who knows us, looks at what we're reading, and then just shakes her head, and it's just like, weird people.
Do you think a comic sort of going for a slice of life about Robbie might have a similar vibe if they were able to go as dark as they wanted to?
I don't know. I mean, comparing to what they said in the episode "The Love God," whenever Stan's balloon crash, it's like, oh no, hope no one died from that. Here's wishing.
Yes, I need a comic about Robbie and his parents, or just his parents, just a one-off about those two. They're fascinating. Just a one-off, them doing just about anything. Or even better yet, what if it's a comic or one-off comic about them arranging a funeral? How they go about doing that?
It'd probably be kind of funny.
I feel like such a horrible person right now. Speak.
I don't know. Dark is one of the reasons why I like dark humor is because death is a pretty funny subject in a sense of, well, it happens, so why not laugh?
If certain jokes are framed in the right way, yeah, they can be pretty funny.
Yeah, tasteless jokes about death aren't funny, but good ones like that scene. What was it? I think it's Final Destination because I've never seen any of the Final Destinations because I'm not very big on horror movies due to my overactive imagination, or not really overactive. It's just I constantly think, so I would like to prefer to avoid nightmares as best I can because I like sleep. But there's this scene where the character tempts fate and then gets hit by a bus.
Oh, wow.
That was hilarious to me. let's see. Iripina asks, what attracted the weirdness in Gravity Falls?
What I find incredibly intriguing about your observation, Ari, Bill definitely didn't cause it because he was attracted to it. That is a very, very interesting point to bring up. Because when you think about it, Bill had access to the mindscape. He could have been screwing with people just about anywhere, but he deliberately chose Gravity Falls. He probably would have had an easier time bursting up into the third dimension and wreaking as much havoc as he wanted to without the weirdness bubble if he'd done, if he'd set up his stuff somewhere else.
Actually, I think in the episode where it showed the UFO, I think Ford posed the question of, it's like, was all the weirdness brought here because of the UFO, or did the UFO or did the UFO come here because of the weirdness?
So, in some respects, Gravity Falls is a Bermuda Triangle kind of thing. All of the weirdness is attracted to it.
I think I might have heard of a Bermuda Triangle like thing involving Alaska. Hold on.
That is a.
The Alaska Triangle or the Alaska Vortex. Hold on. Oh, geez, don't have an article and not show a map. Okay, no, yeah, it only reaches in. Oh, actually, let me. In Alaska, but it seems close enough that it could possibly stretch a bit to Oregon.
Holy crap, I need to look this up. I know this isn't nearly as fascinating as Gravity Falls having the weirdness whatchamahoos it, the Deus Ex Machina thing, or rather convenient plot device that Ford referenced in Weirdmageddon in a couple of discussions with, I think, Stan and even Bill. But coming back to Robbie, what was up with this mysterious CD in Boys Crazy? That that crazy Necronomicon type case that it was in, and the CD being pure black, and it had.
Yeah, that is a very. I think that is one of those mysteries that never gets explained. Hold on, I think there was a reference. Yeah, there's like in the case he pulls it out of. Hold on, let me send a link to this. Crap, paste. There you go. The the case looks very much like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead.
Just a second, I'll set up screen share. It just looks so ominous. I guess you could chalk this up to Robbie really digging the dark gothic aesthetic. But I don't know. I kind of like to entertain the idea that Robbie may have some idea of the occult or even sort of poke at it sometimes, that even his parents might have some knowledge of it. I don't know. I just see this being a thing since given his he's been set up as a red herring for zombies since episode 1. And then you just have his parents being morticians, not even batting an eyelash at zombies. There's something going on there.
Maybe. Well, considering his family are morticians, what if he obtained the CD from someone's house in a sense of like they recently died, and either he and his friends plundered the house in a sense of, hey, they're gone, so who cares? We're teenagers. Or the he and his parents were going around the house to see what they could do, like find some personal effects, and then he found it. Either that, or he bought it at Edgy on purpose and thought it looked cool.
I like your first idea better, that his parents were looking through a house of a deceased person and he found it amongst their belongings. Like maybe the deceased person was originally a necromancer or something like that. That's just a bit more interesting to me. The other one just reeks of a bad trope used for creepypasta. Bad trope that needs to die.
Yeah, like been drowned.
Eh.
I don't know. I don't find creepypastas all that creepy. I guess it's probably because I can think of dozens of things a lot worse. And I do
Oh,
that and I do that for stories anyways.
most creepypasta are pretty tame. There's very few that really stand out.
Eh, hold
Hell,
on.
I don't frequent those nearly as much as I used to back in 2013.
Hold on, it's kind of dark in this room. Let me turn on a light.
Ooh.
Alright, I'm back. Sun's starting to set.
Getting dark where I live too. Huh, actually staying light out later. Okay, not going to go to a subject as banal as the weather. I love your comment, Ari. Maybe Robbie will get a spin-off show. Robbie's Broody Life, Tuesdays at 8, 7 Central on Fox. Definitely be an interesting addition to their lineup, that's for sure.
anything to throw off the constant barrage of McFarlane.
True that.
It's like the only show I actually watch from Fox anymore is Bob's Burgers.
I wish a couple of shows would aid that because Bob's Burgers is great.
Thanks, really?
Will brought up an interesting point about how a couple of particular locations gravity time acts up. Maybe I'm not. I don't think I'm describing what you're trying to describe properly. Sorry about that. I'm guessing some kind of strange, odd phenomena in general.
Yeah, usually those are located at tourist trap places. I think we have one in this state. I think it's in the Mammoth Caves.
I'm pretty sure Illinois has its fair share of ridiculous folk legends. I need to start looking that up. I remember one time reading something about a Sasquatch type figure running around.
Yeah, we've had a whole bunch. Like I've torn through a couple of urban legends for Indiana. Not a lot of them are. Not a lot of them are that creepy. But anyways. Da, 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 da.
Actually, speaking of the Sasquatch, one of the first things you're introduced to when you watch Gravity Falls theme song, there's a split second where you see a Sasquatch or Bigfoot running across the screen. And when you zero in on Bigfoot, there's this pair of human eyes. Is that Seuss running around, or what's up with that? That's never been brought up in show.
Nah, it's too thin for Seuss. Although something that hasn't been brought up since the first episode is when Seuss mentioned that it's like I see weird stuff in this town all the time. In fact, I think the mailman might be a werewolf. We never see that mailman ever again, or
Man.
any mention of werewolves in any of the books.
Excuse me.
Hmm. Well, in case Seuss might be worried, all they have to do is get some silver and plant some wolfsbane around.
Maybe Stan has some silver hidden away somewhere, like he hides it under his mattress or puts rows of it around his secret stashes or safes. Keep werewolves from stealing his dough.
Actually, now that I remember, the only other mention of werewolves was the episode Boss Mabel. Behold, it's the preteen wolf boy. Uncle Stan, I think I'm getting hookworm. If you throw money at him, he dances. Let's see. Harry is wondering about Ford in the other dimensions. And then Will is bringing up Smile Dip. Smile Dip.
I just like to chalk up Smile Dip as Gravity Falls' obligatory drug reference. Similar to I think the gumballs or whatever weird candy there was in Powerpuff Girls, and just candy across the board seems to be cartoons' go-to for referencing drugs if they're going to do it at all.
And not only that, but the spelling for the Smile Dip seemed like it was foreign, and so maybe it was a foreign imported candy, which in a lot of those countries, the way they make candy is way different than here in America. And yeah, it can get kind of weird.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I've had chocolate and orange both light and dark chocolate from what was it, Germany. And each time I'm just like, okay, one bite, that's enough for me.
Intense stuff. In regards to Ford and what may have happened to him in the other dimension, I saw an incredibly interesting fan theory rolling around after the second Weirdmageddon premiered. That Ford may have been in his own variant of the Mabel bubble while he was trapped in another dimension. I doubt that that's what happened, but it's just a really interesting idea to play with.
Well, if he was in a Mabel bubble, cats, stop running around. If he was in a Mabel buddy, Mabel buddy, buy yours for $4.99. If he was in a Mabel bubble, then his clothes wouldn't have changed whenever he got out. Because when he went in, he was in that lab coat and he looked pretty young. But when he came out, he was the like late, like mid '80s apocalypse survivor kind of outfit.
Maybe there was some small part where he was, I don't know, just an interesting idea to play with. Oh, screw it, I'm going to entertain it anyway. What if he started out in a Mabel bubble, but through sheer willpower or just small little things, he eventually pieced it together, found a way out, and then the rest of the time he was in this apocalyptic wasteland. Just
Erie brought up that crystal from Rick and Morty from the season finale, the first one that Rick had Morty and Jessica or Summer's friend and April Dolph Linkler get. Oh yeah, and Will brought up the episode, the where the pen, notebook, and the coffee cup comes out of one of the portals that Rick creates. In the episode, I can't remember. It's the one where he gets summoned by the Council of Ricks.
I know which one you're talking about. I've seen the clips played back to back. One of the little references between shows.
So wait, so then does that mean that Ford went to this messed up Dr. Seuss world? Why would he then need to be geared up like what he was?
You don't know what types of dangerous creatures would be lurking in Dr. Seuss world.
I have to protect myself. I have to do it now. You never know what comes, be it the Thander, the Smarin, or the Kipper Pal.
Hey, better safe than sorry.
Like the fact that Ford keeps a piece on him, like, ever since. Cheer.
There's fan art floating around where Stan and Rick lived in Florida as a couple? What?
And I think I've seen art where they're friends and stuff, but
Honestly, I wouldn't necessarily chalk out that particular idea because Rick, one of Rick's former lovers, is a collective hive mind.
Yeah, it's like someone did this comic for Rick and Morty, like a fan comic, where Summer was trying to come to grips with not being 100% straight, and to which Rick's just like, welcome to the club. She's like, what? It's like, you can't be straight in space, Summer. You just can't. You just can't be straight in space, Summer. So, yeah, I guess Rick's right. Or, I mean, I guess that comic's right. Of course Rick's right. Rick's almost always right. As usual. Ah, PC's here.
Hey, PC, what's up?
And Iri asked if you have any interest in doing a shipping corner on Stanchez.
Well, I have been poking at a script for Rick in Unity, so may just have to add that to the list.
I'm still waiting on my Maybifica.
Oh, crap, I did promise I'd do that. Need to get to that one, too. There's a lot I need to get to. The next one is probably going to be Lady Noir, though. Miraculous Ladybug. I said I'd do that one once the first season ended. First season ended. Need to get to it.
Oh, PC, you have made a slightly agitated enemy.
Why can't you ship both? I ship both.
I don't know. I'm just loyal to my ship. And I see Maybifica as better of the two in a sense of both getting something. But, and I guess I did kind of have a Dipifica moment in this one AU idea I had. But whatever. Okay, so PC asked why the Northwests have a Bill Cipher portrait.
There was reference to the Northwest investing in a bunch of weird ass stock near the end of Weirdmageddon Part 3.
Yeah, I
They
think
may have been in. Oh, sorry.
Blasted cats. I think it might be a reference to the fact that Preston Northwest probably tried to join Bill's side, in a sense. I, for one, welcome our triangular overlord.
He's definitely been in cahoots with Bill for a while, or he knew of his presence.
I mean, he wasn't that freaked out, or maybe he just saw an opportunity and tried to take it.
But then again, they did mention that Bill has been fairly well known throughout several centuries. There could have been a secret society developed around Bill. Sort of what you need to do to get in good with the future overlord of the universe.
Which might explain the symbol for the Society of the Blind Eye. Ah, yeah. The Miraculous Falls AU. PC just mentioned it. Yeah, I've heard of it. It goes in the direction of Diffipica, so I've not paid much attention to it. Ah, so you made it. Well, now I feel bad.
And I've helped a couple of times with little suggestions here and there.
Well, now I feel bad. I mean, all I've done when it comes to Gravity Falls AUs is made one based off of the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it uses the Reverse Falls characters as the base and then just builds off of the movie.
Nice.
Let me just... The noise in the background is a fat cat wanting food.
Feed the cat.
He'll be fed. He knows he's to be fed at around 9.
But he wants food now.
I want it now.
Oh, yeah. PC brought up an interesting point about the Society of the Blind Eye. Preston's name was one of the memory labels in Society of the Blind Eye.
So was Pacifica.
Wasn't pretty much everybody in Gravity Falls somewhere in there, though?
Yeah, one could, I mean, there's a whole bunch of tubes, so one can probably assume that everyone has been blasted at least multiple times.
I'm getting so distracted right now.
Well, yeah, not Stan or Seuss. And then Ford, because of the metal plate, he wouldn't be affected.
Okay, so not everybody, but a majority of the townsfolk.
The Shacktron fight. And then Will's bringing up Candy X Grinda.
If you ship that, good for you.
Eerie. It's like Goat and a Pig. The one true ship. Goat and a pig. Couple of livestock.
Mabel's greatest success is her short stint as a matchmaker.
One of the few times she actually got it right. And didn't have to resort to a love potion.
Love potion number 9.
Let's see. Oh yeah, the Double Dipper episode. Like, was the copy machine in the Double Dipper episode created by Ford, or did it become weird just by being in Gravity Falls?
That's a good question. I have a similar question about the static cling mind swapping carpet.
Well, it said Experiment 47, so probably Ford made that one.
Ah, that's true.
And
So it
PC,
may not be oh,
well, just PC was asking if any of us are going to buy the Journal 3 for the summer.
yes.
If I have the money. Otherwise, I will wait until they do the one with the invisible ink.
Actually, yeah, that'd be a better idea. Probably going to hold out for that one.
But then again, they mentioned that if the sales aren't very good, they probably won't be allowed to do the invisible ink one.
Sales are going to be good. It's Gravity Falls.
Yeah, no, it's... Come on, Binks, get off the table. Fat cat. Yeah, it's Gravity Falls. It's one of those things where I'm kind of surprised they didn't add a Dipper and Mabel figure for Disney Infinity. That would be the only Disney Infinity figure I would buy, is because it's Gravity Falls.
I'm surprised at how Disney's handled their merchandising for Gravity Falls in general. The most I've seen are these cheapo little plastic figures. I think they would have hopped aboard the Funko Pop figure train and made Funkos of all the characters, or at least the big major ones.
Yeah, because the ones with the Friendship is Magic, those are pretty good. I've got a good deal of them. Like, recently I just got Queen Chrysalis and Celestia Luna, Nightmare Moon, etc., etc., etc. And they're pretty good quality. I wouldn't mind having those, like, Gravity Falls characters. Of course, I'd probably have to order them online because no store would have them in stock. Actually, even online, they probably wouldn't have them in stock. It should be like Wave 1 amiibos. A legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks when the amiibos you want are the rare ones. Not because they're rare, but because they're characters that you like.
Disney needs to get their. I guess I'm just floored and surprised that Disney didn't hop onto this particular opportunity sooner. I mean, they had a huge bunch of merchandise for Phineas and Ferb. They jumped on that bandwagon pretty quick, so why not the same for Gravity Falls? That was one of their biggest hard hitters.
I guess it's probably due to the fact that the difference between Gravity Falls and Phineas and Ferb is on a moral. Hold on. Is that on a moral level, Phineas and Ferb is more child friendly and light, while Gravity Falls requires patience, repeated viewings, and has a slightly more darker tone, even in the first season. So, them to be able to market it, and not only that, but considering the fact that the show itself changes episode to episode, there is continuity. It would pretty much go the same route as Transformers Beast Wars, in that the writers created these new characters, so Hasbro had to create new toys based off of that. So Disney would have to keep constantly updating their figures. And the only other official Disney merch I can think of with Gravity Falls is the Dipper hat. And Neftali is here. Aloha.
Hey, Naphtali. All right, going to get off of that particular tangent. But one last thing, they do have plushes of Mabel, Schmebulok, Ducktective, surprisingly, and Waddles. I have the Schmebulok one.
Which one, senior or junior?
The one that barfed. Whichever one it is, he barfs rainbows.
I think all the gnomes do that, but the one that did that in the episode was the junior. Because in the episode, The Last Mabelcorn, there was a reference to Schmebulok Sr. being dead.
Oh, yeah, it's Junior.
Yeah, I just like that. Like in the Forge, just like, what did you say your name was again? Schmebulok Sr.
Okay. PC asked an interesting question. Bill is pure energy, and energy can neither be destroyed nor created, just changed. So, what is Bill's current state? In his consciousness in the statue, or is he somewhere in Stan's memories? Oh, he's somewhere in Stan's memories. That'd be my vote.
Oh, great. Now I'm going in a dark route. The dark ending. Why do I keep doing this? Ag. Like one day, Ford say they're on the sea. Ford wakes up, makes breakfast, and then goes to wake Stan up. He goes downstairs. He goes down below deck. Hears a strange cackling. Knocks on the door, calling Stan's name softly. Opening the door, the cackling gets louder. Stan turns. Bill is there, possessing Stan's body. Hello again, Sixer. It's great to be back.
Oh, God.
And I don't even write fanfics. I'm just naturally dramatic. I guess that comes with the territory of writing comics for, let's see, I've been writing them since I was 4, so 20 years.
That would be a pretty fantastic setup for a comic, though. I definitely read that.
It's like, okay. Will's like, S.R, you're dark, you need some mild, and then I guess corrects it with milk. But I always drink my milk. Huh.
Bill he could definitely make a return some way, somehow. It's just a question of how is he going to gather himself together in Stan's mind and escape, as in possibly taking possession of Stan, escaping through some other means, gaining his physical form back. I've seen a couple of interesting scenarios, or I saw a comic floating around where Dipper kind of started talking to and interacting with Bill's statue. This particular comic brought up an interesting point about the supernatural creatures in Gravity Falls too. Most of them were pretty morally gray, as in they weren't bad guys or bad gals. There was just a bit of a culture shock or misunderstanding. Dipper could get a basic gist of what they were looking for, what they needed. Bill was the biggest exception.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. I mean, considering they were all scared of Weird Mageddon, Binks. Why now? I'm running out of water to spray. Considering they're all scared during Weird Mageddon, would it be possible that similar to animals, the weird creatures just know Bill's energy signature and just stays away from it, creating kind of like a silent zone.
And that's highly possible.
Ari brought up that there's already a DVD for Be Cool Scooby Doo, and Gravity Falls has only had 2 DVDs.
I can't head desk enough at this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I want the complete, like, I'm waiting for Hasbro to make the complete seasons of Friendship is Magic. I don't want to have to buy the individuals. My brother has bought the individuals for the current Turtles series, which, okay, they have them in order, but a lot of DVDs nowadays with shows just either have them out of order, like with, or they just omit episodes. Like the Steven Universe Gym Glow DVD doesn't have certain episodes, and I don't know. I mean, I would just like a complete series for certain shows that I watch, or even shows that I don't watch, just because someone else might watch it.
To quote Chris de Burgh from the song Don't Pay the Ferryman, don't do it. Don't buy the DVDs as just 6 or 7 episode sets. Don't do it.
And that's what I do. I'm just like, every time my brother sees it, he's like, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" I'm like, "No, because that's not the complete series. I'm waiting for the complete series." That's kind of what happened to me with Spectacular Spider-Man. Like, I bought the first season complete on a 2-disc set, and then I bought season 2 on like the individual discs, and then shortly after I bought the last one, buy the Spectacular Spider-Man Blu-ray complete series. No.
God.
As a PC asked about Can Dip.
Ah, it's interesting. I'm not averse to it. I kind of dug it at one point, but I've never really been a huge fan, I guess.
I mean, if I have to choose for Dipper, which to be canon, Dipifica or Can Dip, I'll choose Can Dip.
Personally, the Dipper ship that I'd be rooting for if there wasn't an age difference, or rather when they get older, is Dipper and Wendy.
Yeah, because as Mabel states in the episode, Dipper and Mabel versus the Future, they're not that close. They're not that far off. So once they get a bit older, it won't seem as weird.
Exactly. I don't know. I just like the idea of Dipper maturing a bit more and becoming a bit more self-confident. I really like how he and Wendy mesh and gel with each other. I like them best if I were going to pick overall amongst the potential love interests.
I had something in my head, but then I remembered why it didn't work. Um, it's in the episode Blendon's Game. Uh, Seuss got that infinite pizza. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute, why doesn't he just use that to feed the survivors at the shack? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, Seuss wasn't at the shack until later.
That's a good point to bring up regardless. We need a callback to the infinite pizza because that is just freaking awesome.
No, yeah, PC mentioned Ferb and Vanessa and Phineas and Ferb ending up dating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's actually a pretty good parallel for Windip.
yeah. Although I kind of at first when I saw that like a screenshot, I'm just like, wow, that is a really good fan. That is really good fan art. I just couldn't accept it.
Will, don't mention the thing. That should not be named. That's Cartoon Network's Lord Voldemort. Let's just leave it at that.
Ugh,
That's another good point, PC. The President Key.
Yeah, that didn't do anything throughout the entire show. That is one of my beliefs for why there should have been a third season. Because, and like as I explained before this, season 2 was like just two storylines mashed together. So if they instead expanded upon the like episodes 1 through, like if they used the episode Not What He Seems as the finale episode for season 2, and then A Tale of Two Stands as the opening for season 3, that would give them about about 10 more episodes they could have done. So maybe they could have done an episode where Dipper actually gets a chance to use the presidential key.
Maybe it'd be worth a shot tweeting a picture of the president's key to Alex Hirsch and asking what happened here, or ask if he'd ever do a follow-up on that if he did a comic series. I'm curious to know what he'd say.
Or then again, considering oh shit, what's his name? I have it written down. Considering Quentin Trimbley III, chances are the key is made of chocolate.
I like that headcanon.
After all,
Okay.
after all, he did have that peanut brittle theory.
That's true. Headcanon for what happened to the key. Mabel discovered it was chocolate and shared it with her friends.
It's like a negative $2 bill. This is worthless. Correction, my boy. Less than worthless.
Quentin was great.
Like, why couldn't we see more of him? What up, your dudes? And then I was thinking, like, there's probably something wrong with what he said, like him being the 8th and a half president, and I was trying to sync up his timeline with George, because he mentioned George Washington. It's like, long story short, George Washington's a jerk. And I was trying to think, well, he kind of seems young for George Washington, for him to have known George Washington. Well, if he is in his 40s, then maybe he knew George Washington.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, PC mentioned Gideon's mom.
Yeah, what is the deal there? There's quite a bit of a mystery about her. She did not seem like a very happy woman.
Seemed very stressed and very scared of Gideon.
Heck, wasn't Bud a bit unnerved by Gideon?
I can buy and sell you, old man. Fair enough.
How did Gideon end up getting so much power over his parents? It's
probably the amulet. Like, it gave him psychic abilities, so he probably used it to be able to take control of his. Oh no! Was Gideon's character in that entire episode and his relationship with his parents a reference to the episode of Twilight Zone where that kid had psychic powers and tormented his family to the point where they had to always be happy and think happy thoughts?
Oh God, yeah, that syncs up way too well. Ugh, I freaking hated that kid.
Oh man, Twilight Zone. I love that show. Although, I remember one 4th of July weekend, Sci-Fi did an entire marathon of it, and I just watched I watched almost all of it. I got most of the endings right. But that is probably for another time.
They just have to have a Twilight Zone podcast. That'd be fun.
To the Twilight Zone. Let's see. Well, although where exactly did Gideon get the second journal? Because Ford gave Stan the first journal, hid the third journal, and obviously he didn't hide it well enough for it not to be found by Gideon. And Neftali's asking for another miraculous podcast. Well, maybe with more. Actually, when is season 2? I'll look that up later. Yeah, we'll mention the Gravity Falls finale was going to be a movie.
Huh. Pretty much is movie length if you put all 3 parts together.
Well, if you also include Dipper and Mabel versus the future.
True that.
That would make it about 2.5 hours. No, wait. That's an hour. Yeah, 2.5 hours. Yeah, that would be about movie length. But then again, it would be a very janky movie. Neftali just referenced.
No,
Yeah,
not opening Pandora's box.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't have an OTP in the show for very long, because that was one of the only ones that was available.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah, luckily I got back. Like, for the longest time in Gravity Falls, I'm just like, you know what? I make a solemn vow. I am not going to find a ship and ship a ship. And then Maybithica comes along, and I'm like, damn it.
I did that for Wander Over Yonder until I started shipping Lord Hater and Commander Peepers. The same person who sold me on Pearl and Amethyst for Steven Universe sold me on that. God, they are a slick salesman, I tell you. They could walk circles around me in the shipping analysis department.
Was there ever a Twilight Zone reference in Gravity Falls? Well, if we don't include the Gideon thing.
I don't remember anything in specific.
I'm even trying to remember the shorts. I mean, the mailbox, maybe? Which that brings up a question of what dimension would that box come from?
That's a good question. Bill definitely presented an interesting series of opportunities, or how that particular universe is set up, when he mentioned that he came from the second dimension. It's not beyond reasoning that there could be a higher spatial dimension beyond what they have, though I'm tentative to say that. I'm almost half tempted to say that Gravity Falls takes place in a multiverse, and where Bill's came from, his dimension kind of coincides or mixes with where Gravity Falls is located. And there's probably another third spatial dimension there where the mailbox is, something like that. I don't know. Still parsing through details of how to set that up or piece it together. Rather, my picture of how physics and the multiverse works for Gravity Falls setup.
Which, speaking of the shorts, what about that guy that you only see his left side? And then those creatures. And then those creatures, like, where did they appear? Where did they go?
That's a good question. The first thing that's coming to mind, even though it's a bit of a stretch, but any theories about Gravity Falls mysteries is a stretch.
Yes,
Actually, the first impression I got about the little aliens that were operating the guy whose left side you only see, they were doing some kind of analysis or experiment on Earth's culture. What if they were drawn there because there'd been stories about the previous alien species crash landing there and otherwise?
Or it was a reference to both Doctor Who and Men in Black.
Ah, okay.
I don't know. And then I just thought of, like, a reference they made in the shorts is the candy monster. Is a reference. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna bring. Come on, click, damn you, click. All right, so I'm gonna bring this. Oh, is there screen share? All right, so that's the candy monster. And then here is what I think they might have been referencing. Oh yeah, Will brought up there is a Candyman monster in Doctor Who. Yeah, it nearly killed the 6th Doctor. Or the 4th Doctor. 7th? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Headhunters episode would probably be the reference to the Twilight Zone with the mannequins coming to life.
Here's the comparison picture for the candy monster. That makes sense. Makes so much sense.
Although they did do a reference to the shorts in the finale of Gravity Falls, that cow with the multiple appendages. They did that in one of the Mabel shorts.
Oh, yeah.
Although that was mostly explained due to pollution and waste. Geez, Will, I haven't seen much of the 6th Doctor, just what I've seen. Although, speaking of candy monsters, the Summerween Trickster, how long has he been around? For him to have been known by the town, and considering we saw the flashback, he was he created during the same time period as those teenagers from the Inconveniencing? Or is he just an everlasting spirit that eventually was put to rest by Zeus eating him? I ate a man alive tonight.
Maybe he was just. Maybe he'd just been a spirit that'd been around for quite a while looking for, well, resolution, pretty much.
That would fit with certain ghosts. Ghosts. I hate that. Da, 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 da. Come on, blasted cat. Why tonight?
The cow being a reference to Chernobyl radiation makes sense. Will brought up that the cow that Alex Hirsch said the cow in the short was inspired by Chernobyl.
Oh yeah, the Chernobyl accident. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Ari brought up the canceled Labyrinth parody episode, but they reworked that for Little Gift Shop of Horrors, the claymation episode.
Oh yeah.
Those people are called animators.
Actually, speaking of references to that, somebody mentioned a bit earlier that Wander Over Yonder references Gravity Falls. In the same in that same scene, they even have the same voice actors voice the Mabel stand-in, the Dipper stand-in, and Grunkle Stan, as well as Seuss as the dog.
Oh yeah, I just love how uh, a lot of the writers and stuff are just getting on the animation is hard and we don't get enough credit Bandcamp
Can
because
you blame them?
oh yeah, I mean here I am, I'm still trying to like whenever someone like I show interest in something animated and I have to try to explain to someone like, hey, I'm an artist, I like animation, this is a good show, like whatever, those just for kids. It's not. No, who do you think writes it?
Yeah, that's your best argument for anyone who says animation is just for kids. It's adults writing and making the animation.
Which kind of makes it worse whenever there are shows that have continuity but then don't follow continuity. Like I would take a job at any of those at any of the major three companies just reading scripts and finding continuity errors just to point it out and change and fix them. I guess that kind of would be a dream job in a sense.
That would be a pretty kick-ass job, won't lie.
Let's see.
What?
PC asked about the Save Wander Over Yonder campaign.
I have not signed it yet. I need to. Actually, I'm not really. I'm just going to come right out and say it. Not not on board with the petition, but I am on board with the Thunderclap campaign and buying, watching episodes, and spreading awareness. The petitions, those aren't going to be, that's not where the meat of the movement is. It's the Thunderclap, it's the active Tumblr page, it's active fan content, it's raising awareness, it's sending emails, it's sending letters, it's watching the show when it comes on the air, it's watching it on the app. That's where your strength is in the campaign.
Yeah, not only that, but unless they present the petition, it won't do much. I mean, not every show will succeed like what Kim Possible did. I mean, Randy Cunningham didn't succeed. Let's see. Da, 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 da.
Neftali asked, who do you not ship in Gravity Falls? I'll boil it down to two major ones. Build Up, Pinecest, and don't really ship Gideon with anybody. That's as far as it goes on my front.
I'm in the camp of whatever floats your boat, but I am firmly a non-Dipifica shipper, as I've pointed out many times.
Ari brought up something really interesting. Apparently, there was an episode where Stan had an old friend that was like the ghostwriter. Stan makes a cult of Scientology in a parody of the Labyrinth. This was going to be an episode?
I think those are 3 separate episodes. Yeah, I heard
Oh.
some about that. There was also an episode that Alex mentioned that there was supposed to be where Grunkle Stan and Wendy were to team up to try and steal a diamond, but they couldn't find out how to expand it.
I would have loved to see the ghostwriter setup. Just damn, I'm so disappointed that that wasn't an episode.
And kind of disappointed that the Wendy thing didn't happen because she is a relatively underdeveloped character.
True that.
And if there's one thing I detest in shows, it's underdeveloped character. That's the wrong paper. Is underdeveloped characters, which I'm working on a post about that. So let's see. And then let's see. Mysteries. Trying to find them all. The Stanchurian candidate. How did Ford not notice the torn page in the second journal? I mean, it even went to. He even flipped. Binks. He even flipped to the page. Of course, Dipper was also in the room kind of bugging him, so maybe he just didn't pay it no mind.
Maybe.
Which that also is one of the reasons why I believe there should have been a season 3, because we could have expanded more on Ford's character, especially considering his like forgiveness thing with him and Fiddleford. It's one of those things I feel was kind of rushed in a sense, and they could have done an entire episode about that.
Oh, yeah, that. It would have been nice, actually, an episode focusing on that. Would have highlighted Fiddleford slowly gaining clarity and sense of mind back too. It would have been interesting to see him get a major character spotlight for an episode or so, showing that a bit more in the forefront. I would have loved to see that.
And PC brought up that Dipper never really had any friends of his own in Gravity Falls, to which I just replied with the multi-bear.
That is a good point, though. He kind of hung out with the Wendy's group, I guess, but there was never much development on that. Kind of wish there had been follow up on that. They were kind of hinting at him going through some kind of self identity development thing in the Love God.
And then again in the
Hinted
Roadside
at it.
Attraction, which
I'll just go ahead and say it. I consider that canon. Nobody can take that away from me.
yeah, because if Bottomless Pit and a Little Gift Shop of Horrors is canon, then so should Roadside Attractions.
That one had fantastic development between Dipper and Stan. I think that was a good follow up after what happened in Not What He Seems. It kind of bridges that. They're still getting along, that they're kind of building up the initial rapport that they had. That's what I like to think that that's a good stopper or setup for.
Yeah. Although a little reference in Little Gift Shop of Horrors that I caught the second I saw it. The Hand Witch, her outfit was a reference to Manos, the Hands of Fate. Yeah, PC is confused about roadside attractions being not being canon. Yeah, Alex tweeted that he said that it's not canon, so which it's like if he only wanted 2 seasons of the show, why not? Why have a non-canon episode? That just seems like a waste.
That falls back in the trend or setup some cartoons are going. It falls in the same camp as Wander. There's some episodes that have continuity or overarching story and development in them, but it's set up as a fairly episodic series. It's kind of an interesting that'd be an interesting topic to cover by itself.
Yeah, and not only
Heck,
that, but the secret agents introduced in season 2, that would have been a really good plot line for them to develop over the course if they didn't get rid of them halfway through. Like maybe have the secret agents so distrust and concern amongst the residents against Stan Pines, which I guess would probably be a rehash of what happened with little Gideon in the Gideon Rises episode.
maybe. I hate to cut this a bit shorter, but probably going to wrap up around 8:10, 8:15. I made plans with somebody.
All right. Well, I got the new Adventure Time episode to watch. Bubbling, bubbling everywhere.
Okay, I need to watch that episode because
It's it's titled "Broke His Crown."
all right, gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, it's about the Ice King, and it's got Marceline and Bubblegum.
Bubbling, major ship before Korosami showed up.
It's like I was shipping Korosami before it even became canon. Like
Same here.
back during season 1.
As soon as Asami showed up, I was like, I like her with Korra.
Yeah, it just seemed to fit. Da, 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 da. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, there's that Fight Fighters thing. Like, who found that code? Ooh,
Maybe the Konami code is a standard in the Gravity Falls universe, or
Headcanon, the CD that Robbie got in the that he used on Wendy came from the same place that Giffany did in Seuss and the Real Girl. Headcanon for me.
oh, so there's definitely some kind of mysterious. Let's say that there's a mysterious pawn shop that has items cycled through it every so often. Items with mysterious properties, and that's where the Gibney CD show up, Robbie CD, or no, not Robbie CD, but eh.
Well, there is an AU that I like called Adventure Falls, or at least I call it Adventure Falls, where it combines Adventure Time and Gravity Falls. And so, like, Mabel became Princess Bubblegum, Dipper became the Lich, Candy became Bimo, and Stan sold the Ice King's crown to Simon.
Wow. Definitely some interesting potential with all of those different tangents.
Yeah, it's one of my it's one of the AUs that I really like. Next to what is it? Reverse Falls, Reunion Falls, and Monster Falls. Bunch of falls. Fall, 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 fall. and then of course my own AU that I made. But I've discussed that. Kind of. I just explained it. Whatever. The giant time baby. How far into the future did he come into power?
That's a good question. They had that kind of building up in the background, but there's ambiguity to it. Since Blendon can travel across time, pretty much go to any point or period, there may be some caveat to his job that he comes from a certain timeline, but he also travels further into the future to check in with Time Baby or something like that.
And considering that in the episode, The Time Traveler's Pig, they end up in the future at one point, like Dipper and Mabel end up in the future, and they look around and humanity is having a war with the Time Baby. To which Mabel smiles and says, "This future looks fun."
That is not fun.
I guess Mabel's the more twisted of the twins.
Actually, though, considering that particular factor, Blendon pretty readily reported to Time Baby, and he'd been a time officer before that debacle took place. Maybe Time Baby taking over completely rewrote a particular timeline.
Alternate timelines and time travel. Ugh, that is right up my alley. Just trying to find and fix everything involving time travel. Yeesh.
Don't necessarily have enough grounding for that one. That one, though.
Yeah, sure. That's probably where a comic series would work. Will you stop scratching my chair? Like I could see. Oh yeah, they're doing an Over the Garden Wall comic series, like a regular thing. Which I've got all 4 of the miniseries, which I accidentally ordered 2 of the last one. See. Thinking about it, if they did do a Gravity Falls comic, something I would probably want them to do is the return of Bill Cipher as the finale for the comic.
God, I have a bad habit of doing that. I press the X.
Ah. Oh, I guess I didn't notice it. I've been too distracted keeping an eye on the cats.
All right, probably going to get to wrapping up here within a couple of minutes. Any last questions or last points anyone wants to bring up?
Trying to think of one. Looking at the list. The little Putchkians, did they come first, or did the mini golf course come first? Or were they attracted to the putt putt course? Mysteries upon mysteries upon mysteries.
Yeah.
So I guess that is probably. I don't know why Alex would not release the first and second journal as well. Oh, Neftali's asking about Seuss's dad.
Hmm.
And then, of course, his mom as well, because he's being raised by Abuelita.
His dad? I think his dad just, I think Seuss's story is a sad one in that his dad took off and left. His mom, on the other hand, I'm guessing that Abel. I'm. That's a good question, actually. I don't really have any speculations on that.
Hmm. Well, that is something that they could possibly bring up in a comic. I keep coming back to a comic series. I guess that
We need a Gravity Falls comic series.
quick, everyone's like, I don't know. Yeah, if along with the Wander Over Yonder campaign, try that. Try tweeting Alex Hirsch to see if he can do that.
Yes.
Because that would be really great. And I think Disney might. Great, they're trying to get in the trash. I think Disney might actually be for that as well, considering how well it's doing for Cartoon Network with Adventure Time and Nickelodeon for Avatar: The Last Airbender. And later with Legend of Korra, which once they announce a release date for that, I am putting it in my calendar and buying a copy.
Oh, yeah. Great. Tiny dog upstairs sounds agitated.
You should try these two cats running around knocking my stuff off my desk. Feed
Man,
me, feed me.
went from big
Later.
went from big booming bark to tiny dog yip yip yip.
I hear it. Let's see. Star vs. the Force of Evil. Yeah, they're probably talking about that.
Probably going to save that one for a different podcast episode. Actually, may just chalk that up and leave it for a future date. I think it'd be worth doing so since there may be an official release date coming out pretty soon. Also, may just consider bringing in a couple of special guests who host the Talking Rainbows, Talking Puppies podcast. No guarantees, though, because I need to ask them if they'd be interested first.
Oh, yeah, I heard an episode of that. They seem like pretty chill dudes.
They're pretty fun to talk to. I've actually Skyped with them a few times on and off. One of them's getting me into School Rumble recently.
Oh, right, anime. I had to think about it for a bit. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, if it's animated, chances are I know it. I may not have seen it, but I know of it.
I recommend it. It's fun.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple episodes, but I think it was also at the point whenever I was getting burnt out on anime.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there's that Weird Al series coming soon.
There's a Weird Al series?
Well, not Weird Al series as in Weird Al himself. He's playing the main character in a show.
Awesome.
Yeah, they even teased it in that little animation thing that was at the, like, during the Gravity Falls finale, where it showed that Star Versus animation thing. The kid with the backpack and the rocket jetpack or rocket boots. Yeah, that he was voiced by Weird Al, which it's one of those things where you have to listen. Cats! Where you have to, like, listen for it, because you'll hear Weird Al. You'll hear Weird Al kind of cheer.
Nice.
So he will be in a Disney XD cartoon.
Definitely going to check that out.
Hopefully it doesn't go the way of many other celebrity starring shows.
Yeah, true that.
Mr. T would be disappointed.
Okay, so probably going to end on the note of Mr. T.
Mr. T is disappointed at the lack of mystery solving. Yeah, I could do better, but my voice isn't at top form.
We're all disappointed in Mr. T, but then again, the mystery is also what keeps us coming back.
Oh yeah, Will mentioning the class of 3000.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to add that to my Cartoon Network reboot list. Oh well. Well, at least I added 2 more on my Nickelodeon.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this podcast, S.R.
No problem. I shall now leave and try to solve more mysteries of the Gravity Falls whilst working on my bookmark.
Sounds like a plan.
Although first I think I shall feed the cats.
Cats away. Good night, everybody.